Hello, it's Gareth here from Trig and Trail. I hope you're well. I got a little product review for you today. When I started walking a few years ago, I was always conscious of trying to get the right kind of gear. The first thing I remember buying was a good pair of boots, and then you kind of follow it with the jacket and then walking trousers. But over the years, there's one particular make that I've always heard about, but I've not really had many products from. In fact, I only have one other product from this brand, and I didn't even know I'd got it. So let me explain. There's a company that anybody that's been walking for a while or knows anything about walking gear will have heard of, and it's a company called Sealskinz. And Sealskinz, they specialise in doing waterproof equipment, specifically kind of for your head and your hands and your feet, so socks, gloves, and obviously bobble hats and caps. And I bought some gloves a few years ago in a sale, and I never really knew what brand they were. They were kind of put out there as being waterproof gloves. And I've worn them a lot. They've been very good. And then I realised they were Sealskinz. I mean, it sounds silly. I didn't realise they were Sealskinz when I bought them, but I found they were Sealskinz. So I've had a pair of Sealskinz gloves now for a few years, and they've been really good. And whenever it's been wet, they've always kept me dry. Not particularly warm, but they're not that kind of glove. They're not a cold weather glove. So this year I bought myself some new hiking shoes. They're actually trail running shoes. I use them for hiking. But they were not waterproof at all. They're the first pair of walking shoes or boots I've worn that weren't Gore-Tex or had some kind of protection from the elements on them. So I was aware that any kind of damp, whether it's dew on the ground or even the smallest amount of moisture, were going to go through them. So it got me thinking about getting some waterproof socks. So today I'm going to talk about Sealskinz waterproof socks, because this is a pair of socks I've had now for 4 months. I've used them all through spring and through summer here in the UK, and we have had some rain. And I've had them out in the rain on a few occasions, and they've been brilliant. So brilliant, in fact, that this pair that I'm kind of showing off to the camera is not the pair I've had for a while. I bought these brand new. They only came yesterday. The reason I bought these is because the ones I bought in the early part of spring, they were waterproof socks, but they were meant for kind of warmer conditions, so spring and summer. These are meant for winter. So I got these from the same place I got the last ones. Waterproof socks are something that I never thought would be a thing. I always thought, well, what's that all about? I thought they'd be uncomfortable, because I thought, well, what makes them waterproof? They must have something in there that's quite, maybe I almost felt like I'd have plastic bags on my feet. But I have to say, from wearing them now for the last 4 months, and I've worn them quite a bit, they've been brilliant. And I've even worn them in dry conditions because they're actually more comfortable than normal walking socks. I've had no issues with blisters or rubbing. They've felt really good. Again, because they're waterproof, I wondered whether they'd be any good when they've been washed a couple of times, and they have remained waterproof, and they've washed very, very well. So Sealskinz socks, they can be quite expensive. When I first started looking at these, they were about £45 a pair. These are the winter ones. The ones for the summer are a bit less than about £35. But I've got a place online that I buy stuff from, and it's called sportshoes.com. And they've always got some deals on there. So I found some deals on the summer version, which is why I bought those. I think they were £20. These I bought yesterday were £25. So they are considerably cheaper than buying them from the Sealskinz site. And I have to say, they've been brilliant. Having good socks is really important, because I think if your feet feel comfortable when you're walking, you always feel better. The minute your feet start to give up, either because you've got blisters or they've got cold or they've got wet, all of a sudden very quickly, even if you're walking a short distance, it can start to feel quite uncomfortable. And I don't like that. I try to make sure that my feet are dry and warm, along with my hands are sort of dry and warm. It might sound expensive, it's £25 for a pair of socks or £20 for the summer version, because you can buy walking socks if you go to some places, cheap walking socks for like £2 or £3 a pair. I have to say, I have had pairs at that price. They are always that good. I would always say that when it comes to your feet and your hands, always spend what you can. If you can only afford a pair of £3 or £4 ones, then get a couple of pair of them, because you need to change them quickly, because they soon kind of wear down. But I have to say, when you're out walking, if you can stay warm and dry, you're always going to feel better. These Sealskinz have been brilliant. The colour, they're like a pinky reddy colour. I'm colourblind, so I can't really tell exactly what they were. But I have found when I put them on, they felt chunky, but not kind of big. So when I put them onto my shoes, they didn't feel tight. I didn't feel any rubbing, because these seem quite big. I've also found that when they did get wet, they dried out very quickly. So a couple of days over the last probably couple of weeks I've been out walking, when I've gone through puddles, there's been a little bit of moisture on the ground, I could feel my feet, because although your feet don't get wet, you can kind of sense your socks have got damp, if that makes sense, because they get a bit cooler. But they very quickly dried out, again because the shoes I'm wearing are not waterproof. Obviously air's getting through them, so they were up drying them, but I found that they dried very, very quickly. And I have to say, I can't speak enough about these Sealskinz socks. My gloves have been brilliant. I think I'm into my 5th year now with these gloves that I've got, and they've never let me down. They're really waterproof. And again, just like your feet, if you can keep your hands dry, that's half the battle, because if you've got wet hands and you've got to try using a phone, or you're trying to meddle about, your hands get cold, and then it becomes hard to use your equipment. Now that doesn't really apply so much when you're in the middle of kind of summer, because it's normally reasonably warm. But I'm aware I'm recording this in September, and here in the UK, you know, the temperature is going to start to go down very quickly. I would think by we get into October, we're going to down to kind of chilly mornings again. Instead of getting to November, the frost comes, and then that's why it's really important you get the warm gear on, which is why these have been bought. So if you are considering buying some socks, and if you are looking to try to keep your feet dry, I would highly recommend these Sealskinz. I would also highly recommend you looking at places online, try to find the deals on them. The Sealskinz site, I've always got them on, they've always got them in stock. But if you look at your particular size and you're not too bothered about colour, you can really get some deals. And at the end of the day, they're normally a pair of trousers. In summer I've been wearing shorts, but they've been on show, but they're such a bad colour, are they? They're alright then. But they are great. I would definitely recommend them. They'll keep your feet warm, they'll keep your feet dry, and it's so important when you're walking. So that's my little review of the Sealskinz socks. The pair I've had about 4 months, showing no sign of wear. They've washed great, they feel great on, they do the business. So if you can afford and you get the opportunity, get yourself a pair of these, you will not be disappointed. Okay, there you go. My review of the Sealskinz socks. I'll see you again for some other videos. Take care.